Streaming now, this is the Wood TV Live Desk.
And good afternoon, everyone. Phil Pinarski here with the News 8 Live Desk. Hope you're all having a wonderful Thanksgiving Eve, I should say. And look who's here. It is Storm Team 8 Chief Meteorologist Ellen Bacca. She is going to be talking to us as many people are probably getting started to either head on out and traveling across the country or maybe just really across the city to celebrate Thanksgiving. And we want to make sure that you are so prepared to know when is the best time to leave over these next couple of days, going to your destination and also coming back. We want to make sure you're just as prepared as possible. Ellen is the perfect person to ask all of our questions to. So Ellen, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm ready. And truly, if you guys have any forecasting questions, like you have a trip that you're going to be taking in the next few days and you're a little apprehensive, shoot it my way and we can go through the data together. I've prepped a few things with Phil here, so hopefully we'll be able to tackle any question that comes our way.
Right. Yeah, if you are watching us on Facebook, please send in your questions. Type them up in the comment section below. We're going to try to get to as many as we can during today's stream. Today, we want to mainly focus on those who are planning to travel out of state. Ellen's going to be back on tomorrow. We're going to be talking about maybe some more local destinations that you might be taking. But if you do have a really big question that you want to ask us, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section. Like I said, we're going to get to as many as we can. But before we do that and kind of letting everybody have time to send in those questions, Ellen, I do want to ask you a question about some rumblings we've been hearing maybe in the newsroom the past couple of days of some potential snow really at the back end of the holiday. We saw a few flakes already this month, but we're expecting a little bit more coming up at the end of Thanksgiving.
We've definitely tackled like the first snow of the season, right? We've checked that off the bucket list. But if you look at how much fell, especially like in the Grand Rapids area, it was only 0.2 of an inch, so it wasn't all that much. And then it like melted right away, so the travel impacts were pretty minimal. I do think that as we head towards the end of this weekend, we're going to have to start watching for slick roads, a bit more of the steady snow, especially after dark. And Phil, it looks like we could start to take that turn Thanksgiving night. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to be on, because we know a lot of people are going to be like full of turkey, maybe a little slow to get on the roads, but Thanksgiving might be one of those times that you want to just keep an eye on the weather and check in with us so that you can hit the road and get home safe before the snow starts to ramp up.
And of course, I know Storm Team 8 is going to be all on top of the weather all throughout the holiday season, just to make sure that everybody is on top of what's going to be happening wherever you're headed to. And one thing that we are going to be getting into a little bit, Ellen, and I know you've prepared some graphics that we're going to be taking a look at in just a little bit, but I want to answer this question, just kind of get out ahead of it. When we talk about weather impacts, what specifically are we going to be talking about? Is it more so of the snow that you mentioned, or maybe we could see some other things really popping up, not just here in Michigan, but really across the country?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when it comes to weather impacts for this particular week, the biggest impact that we're going to be covering is snow, because it looks like we're not going to be the only ones in the nation that have to deal with that change into snowfall. This incoming colds that we're about to see towards the end of the week here is going to be a cold blast for a lot of us in the nation. So we're seeing less thunderstorm potential, we're seeing less high wind potential. It's more just that switch to snow that we're going to be watching for airport delays, for road conditions. And again, it's not a small thing. It's going to be impacting the Great Lakes for sure on Thursday, but many others as we get towards the latter half of the weekend. Folks hitting the road today and tomorrow, things are looking kind of okay. In fact, Phil, if we look at what's going on right now across the nation, I have a currents map, and you can see we have a nice area of high pressure that's over the Great Lakes. We've got some snow that's draped into Canada, stretching into New England, but all in all, things are kind of quiet across the board. We have a system that's going to start to progress in the Rockies. You can start to see some snow towards Denver. But at first glance of this map shows that we don't really have anything too impactful today. So if you have loved ones that are traveling today, or you're trying to get a jump on the rush and you're heading out today or tonight, all in all, the weather is kind of cooperating. It's as we go through the week that we're going to start to see things take a bit of a dive. Here's tomorrow at 7 a.m. Notice, still pretty quiet across the Midwest. If you're traveling to Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, from Michigan, not all that bad. The Upper Peninsula could have some areas of snow, but not nearly as much as what they just picked up, which was several inches. Now, notice Denver should be seeing an uptick of snow tomorrow morning. So if you have a flight that connects through Denver, maybe a delay, but they're pretty savvy when it comes to snow, so I tend to doubt it. Here is probably going to be one of the biggest travel concerns. 7 o'clock Wednesday, it's dark across the nation, and we've got this huge rain-snow mix system that's going to be moving over some terrain. We're talking the southern portion of Indiana and Illinois through Kentucky and Tennessee. So I think that might slow some people down. And heavy rain after dark, especially switching on again, off again to snow, could be pretty tricky for folks in those regions.
So you're saying we should, and I think I speak for a lot of people that are probably at work right now, that we should be leaving right now and heading out onto the road, getting to those destinations.
Exactly. I gotta go.
Ellen just said it's going to start snowing. We got to get out of here. Exactly. Right.
Here's Thursday morning, and we're going to be diving in closer to West Michigan for those folks that are bouncing from spot to spot right here in the state. But I just wanted to stop it because if you're flying out on Thursday morning into Newark, they could have some delays. You can see the system is tracking through. The Appalachian Mountains could be quite rainy again, at times switching to snow, especially as you're getting up towards Northern Virginia, West Virginia. So folks there driving in the morning hours could have some trickiness on the roads. As we get through Thanksgiving afternoon, the nation settles a bit, except for Vermont and New Hampshire where they're seeing steady snow. But after that moves past, that's when West Michigan really starts to see a lot of activity. So you can see it in this wide view, how the rest of the nation kind of quiets down, but the Great Lakes ramp up as cold air starts to surge in. So we're talking a good chance of snow starting Thanksgiving evening, overnight, and then through the day on Black Friday. And Phil, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but it does look like more and more snow is going to continue to stack up as we get into Saturday and Sunday as well.
Yeah, no, definitely something to keep an eye on, especially for all the shopping that is probably going to be done. You know, we talked about getting to your Thanksgiving meal, but I think just as big for families is going Black Friday shopping leading into Monday. Ellen, I do want to stop this conversation just for a second, though, because we do have a question from John. Hey, John, thanks for watching. He is asking about the snow that we are probably going to see over the weekend. Can we expect it all to be gone by maybe the start of next week?
Oh, that is an excellent question, John. So to answer that, I want to show you another graphic, and this one is showing the air masses across the nation. And we're going to start again on Wednesday so we can walk through the entire forecast time frame. Right now, this forecast model that I'm showing you is the one that has performed most accurately so far. So there's always a lot of forecast models that we can look at, but they're not all equal, and some do better than others depending on the situation. This one here has been pretty accurate. And taking us through Sunday evening, you can see how cold air pours all the way down through West Michigan, down to spots like Atlanta. So to answer your question, we're just going to roll this forward even further. Notice, instead of letting up, we just continue to see waves of cold kick through for the entire week. So we're going to start a cold pattern likely this weekend, and then it looks like the first week of December we are going to stay icy, and we're also going to have several chances for new rounds of snow. Every time you see one of those cold blobs come down out of Canada, it does a few really neat things over Lake Michigan. It raises inversion heights, it adds a little bit of spin into the atmosphere. Long story short, it gives us a good chance for lake effect. So looking at your outlook into the start of December, colder than average, and the first to even second week of December is looking like we should stay kind of cold, kind of snowy.
Yeah. No, and again, thanks, John, for sending in that question. As a reminder to everybody, if you've got questions for Ellen, either today or tomorrow on the live desk, please put them in the Facebook comment section below. Now we're going to try to get to as many as we can throughout these next 2 days of streams. So, Ellen, I guess we're really flipping the script from what we saw earlier this month and even in October when we were having warmer than average days. It didn't feel like we were ever going to hit fall. It's sort of the complete opposite once we hit December.
Oh, definitely. October was one of our sunniest Octobers ever. We soaked in the sun, we soaked in the warmth. It was a little on the drought side, and then we moved into November and suddenly tons of rain started to arrive, and we're like, oh, I guess it is fall after all. And now it really looks like all the cold that was ruminating and preparing is finally going to unload. And this is something that we talked about in our Storm Team 8 Winter Outlook, that right now some of those wide signals that are happening across the entire world might cooperate to create a cold channel right into the Great Lakes. So actually, I'm going to go back to that cold air map again, and we're just going to watch the animation for it. Cold air blobs like this, Phil, can literally drop down any part of the globe. So we can see them drop down in Europe or over in Russia. But the particular setup that we have favors a channel that streams down over the Great Lakes, especially in December. And you're seeing that the forecast is lining up with that. Like, we have round after round of cold, and instead of it going over the Rockies or over Seattle and the Sierra Nevadas, we're seeing it spin down into the Great Lakes.
Now, I love purple. That's my favorite color. And seeing that is very pretty, but it is kind of disheartening to know that we are expecting to finally hit that cold front that we've been really sort of staving off for a really long time, it feels like.
Yeah, I hope the lawns are all mowed. Right? We've
Right.
had our time.
Exactly,
to
exactly.
catch up.
Your lawns have never looked better.
No, oh my gosh, yeah, that's a fact for sure. I think the next question that we've been getting is like, okay, well, how much snow? And this is something that we take very seriously. We don't really like to throw huge numbers out. We like to take our time because goodness knows in West Michigan, like, we're familiar with snow, but a little can go a long way.
Right.
So especially when it comes to these first snows, I don't want you to concentrate on the number as much as the fact that it looks like it's going to be sticking this time, and it looks like it's going to be coupled with road temperatures in the 20s. So road salt is still effective when that happens, but if you get steady lake effect snow, like we're expecting, there's a better chance that the plows are going to have a lot to tackle, and so roads could get icy, bottom line.
Right.
So the biggest thing that we just want people to know is, like, yeah, we've had the first snow already, but starting about 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving, we could start to see some light snow showers. I don't think people have to be concerned quite then, but once you get close to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, midnight and beyond, like, can you see that stretch of snow
Right, yep.
that's over West Michigan? That has been consistently popping up in our forecast models for a while. So that gives us increased chances and confidence that Thursday night into Friday, and then Friday into Saturday, we're going to be seeing a very good chance of snow.
And Ellen, you know, obviously we've tackled a lot of important things. You showed a lot of graphs that were super helpful to so many people. We actually just got a question about how many inches of snow we're actually going to get, so you're a little bit of a mind reader there. But, you know, when you think about this, kind of break it down for everybody that maybe is just tuning in. Leaving as early as possible, maybe staying a little bit later, is that kind of maybe the suggestions you would make to really avoid? Obviously, you can't 100% avoid
Right.
what we're going to be expecting, but really kind of minimize just how difficult it might be to travel.
Definitely. I think that if you can hit the road later on today, if you're heading to, like, Illinois, Indiana, that's great. Wednesday, travel should be pretty okay, but if you start to head further south into, like, southern Indiana, you are going to run into some slowdowns, and it might be a little tricky travel-wise because we could maybe see it change from rain to snow occasionally. And then, as we get into Thanksgiving itself, travel during the day should be mostly dry, not completely dry, but mostly dry. It's after dark that you want to start really thinking about getting back and getting home safely, or just hanging out for a while and staying until Saturday. Looking at Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday right now looks like it should be the quietest during the daytime. And of course, we'll continue to update you if one of those lobes of cold comes in a little fast or some of these snowfall projections change a bit. We will be the first to let you know so that you can time things out the best.
Absolutely. I could not recommend it enough for everybody to just always stay locked in with Storm Team 8. They're going to be bringing you all the information you need, especially when you're traveling out and, you know, maybe you are far away. Maybe you're on the East Coast or the West Coast and you want to know what it's like back home. Check back in with Storm Team 8. They're going to let you know exactly what you can expect on your travel back. And yeah, like Ellen said, maybe extend your trip out a little bit longer. Really just avoid everything. We want everybody to stay as safe as possible this Thanksgiving.
Definitely. And hopefully everybody remembers those driving tips because we're definitely going to need them over the next couple of days.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, Ellen, thank you so much for stopping by. And as a reminder to everybody, Ellen's going to be back tomorrow again to talk a little bit more about some of the impacts, if anything's changed. And we're also going to be focusing a little bit more on what to expect here in Michigan. For all of you that are planning on traveling somewhere in the Mitten, you're going to want to definitely tune in for that. And if you're not, you know, you still want to tune in to make sure you're well ahead of everything that's going to be happening weather-wise over the next couple of days. Ellen, thank you so much for stopping by. I know I really appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else did.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning into this latest edition of the News 8 Live Desk. I'm Phil Penarski, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.